Hi there, we're coming to you live from the Nation Media Center. You're watching Here and Now on NTV. I'm your host, Janet Mbogwa. Now, young people are often excluded or overlooked as political candidates. Politics is typically regarded as a space for politically experienced men, and while women are often disadvantaged in accumulating experience to run for office, young people are systematically marginalized because of their age, limited opportunities, and projected lack of experience. So what does it really take to vie for a political seat as a 20 or 30-something-year-old? Today we'll be talking to a panel of young people who vied or participated in politics and hear their take on youth in politics. Please remember to share your thoughts by using the hashtag HereAndNowKE on social media. But before we introduce you to the rest of our panelists, I'd want to take a moment to sidebar, I think I would say, with Bina Maseno. Or why don't we do a quick run through of what your names are, because you can't be on set and then I'm speaking to Bina. So very quickly, your name and how you participated in the elections.
Thank you. My name is Jimmy Shigi from Tribeless Youth. I participated in campaign management for two of my friends who are vying for seats, various political seats in Nairobi.
Okay, and this was 2017?
2017, yes.
All right.
My name is Susan Silantoe. I vied for Senate in Nairobi in 2017.
Okay.
My name is Muthiora Kariara, a former deputy presidential candidate and a contender for president for the elections that are coming in 2022.
I feel like maybe this is the first time you've declared that nationally, so we'll come back to that in a moment. But the reason I wanted to speak to Bina is because of her transition from having vied for a seat and then what she's done with it. So Bina, it was 2013.
Yes.
What is it that made you say, you know, I want to try my hand at the political race?
I think, first of all, the frustrations from the issues affecting my community. So I was tired of being passive when it comes to contributing to the change I want to see in my community. I was tired of just sharing my opinion on social media platforms about what should be done. And for me, I saw this as an avenue. Is it the only avenue? No. But at the time, it was a very critical avenue for me to explore and try a hand into bringing the change I want to see in my community.
How old were you?
I was turning 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you are, you've made this decision. How did you go about getting your research right, getting the financial backing, even getting the political backing? Briefly take us through that.
So first of all, getting mentors, people who've vied before, though at the time I actually entered the political space a bit late because I was still in campus, so I had to take a break from campus. So basically, guys who had vied before, and then number two, my work engaging at the community as a community organizer and a community mobilizer. So the women groups and the youth groups I was working with, so they became a backup for what I needed to do and to champion some of the things that are, that we plan together to see through it, that what, this needs to happen when we actually take over,
Financially?
I think that's one of the biggest challenges that most politicians have, given how the citizens always behave when it comes to elections, because it's always about money, 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 then your manifesto, money, then your manifesto. So financially, I can't really say I had enough resources, but then I had to just maximize what I had. Capital when it comes to, human capital, and then, the groups you're in.
Okay, so leveraging on your networks.
Yeah, leveraging on your networks.
Take us through the day you lost. Did you actually have a hope and say, this could be a moment where they take on a 23-year-old who can lead in politics? Was that something that you feel you were convicted about? And if so, take us then through the day you lost.
I think for most politicians, even if you're the least popular, at the end of the day, when you get to the ground, you're always optimistic that you're going to win, and I think that's why you actually even vie in the you vie in the first place, because you're optimistic. There are people who relate to the change that you want to bring, and especially if you've been mobilizing people to champion a particular cause, you're always optimistic. So for me, I was optimistic because number one, I thought I'd have enough backing from the young people. And then also from women, because also majority of the women actually really come out to vote. Also from the women, and surprisingly also from church. Especially if you come from a big church, you're like, by the way, this one's nominations, I'm in.
Yeah.
Just my church alone can get me in there.
So the loss was a bit of it. Did it hit you hard, or did you feel like, well, this is how it goes? You lose and then you prepare yourself for the next step?
It was hard. Okay. It was hard. It was tough, because when it comes to politics, I always say, you know, you can lose money, you can make money. When it comes to money, you can always make money. You know, people blow up money, you start a business, it goes down the drain and you can make money. But then it's the time that you invest. You know, it's the time that you invest that you'll never recover. Because it's not something you wake up 3 months to and say, I want to run. So this is something people always advise you to start early. So you can imagine if you're starting like a year or 2 years earlier, you're not engaging in anything else. You cannot be in an 8 to 5 p.m. job. So that means at times you even have to quit your own, you have to quit employment and you don't probably have, a backup after that. And especially, when you're young, and like when you've worked for, let's say, a couple of years and you're about to retire, you've made your money. When you're young, you're just starting off, you're just starting your career. So also the impact when you lose, people are like, hey, me want to employ a politician. And no, not politics.
But yet you turned it around.
Yes.
I think I recently witnessed you doing the Moth, which is a Gates Foundation funded program on public speaking. You've been on the global stage, speaking in front of some of the most influential people in the world. You're now, looking at youth leadership. All of you are, and you're doing an incredible job. But you turned that, loss around almost to a win. So just very briefly, tell us how you transitioned before you kind of shed light on what the others maybe need to look out for, or people who are interested in vying, what they need to think about. How did you shift that to a win?
So when I was vying, I looked at politics as the main avenue for me to bring about the change that I needed to bring about. And then after the elections, I had to audit what went wrong, how did people engage, who didn't engage. And I realized actually majority of the young women under 30 did not engage. They didn't even appear in the campaigns, engaging even online when it comes to what should be done, like just having political conversations. And I realized, this is a very huge number. If we talk about even young people being 60% in this country, half that number is young women who even research says they're the disenfranchised lot. They don't think politics affect them. They don't even care about politics to start with. And even when you look at their digital traces online, they don't even comment about politics. And I decided to leverage on that. I said, okay, fine. As a young woman, how do I tap into this demographic and show them why it's important to actually engage in terms of activating your civic power and playing a meaningful role in your community. And that is when the journey of Badili Africa began.
Okay. Yeah. Where can people find the work of Badili Africa?
So there's online at badiliafrica.org, and then at the community level, we work in Embakasi currently, and we're trying to expand to other communities outside Nairobi, and also we're getting into the university space. So we are already in some universities currently, but we're trying to expand and get into other spaces where we haven't been before.
Okay, we have a few minutes left. I know we'll rope everyone else in after the break. So very quickly, this could be somebody out there, and we'll ask them the same question, and they're interested in participating in the 2022 elections. What's the one thing you want to say to them? This is somebody in their 20s, early 30s watching this right now. What would you want to say to them about that experience?
I think for me, actually, what I even want to say about just youth leadership in general is that I think when you're young, stick your neck out for something you believe in. Stand up, for something you believe in. Don't just be passive about what is happening in your community, and then you're just sharing your opinion. And I think our biggest challenge is the fact that, we give a free hand to a politician, and the only other time we have to take them off power, to get them off that particular seat is after 5 years. And that happens because we don't engage, from the beginning. We keep talking about bad people ruling us, and they say, you know what? If good people are not willing to engage, then we should actually stop complaining. So I think you should stand up for what you believe in, and there are ways you can engage. But the challenge, again, is the fact that majority of us engage with the like when it comes to election, we engage with the last process of it, which is even voting, and we feel like I've done something about it. But when it comes to democracy, it's just not about voting, but understanding the fundamentals of the system. Where do I plug in? Where does it start? Most of these leaders, even the leader was meant to be here. It's even nomination. We don't even participate in nomination. We just sit back and then we wait. We don't participate in political parties, which are the cornerstone in our democracy. They produce the leaders who are going to be on the ballot, so we don't even engage there. So I think people should stand up for what they believe in and engage from the very, very beginning, not to wait for the very last process and then start complaining that things are not working.
Thank you for your voice. I can see everybody sort of like agreeing really hard and talking about the leader that was meant to be here. I don't know if we have word that he's in the building. He is in the building? Okay, Babu Owino is going to be here, so he made it, and we'll ask him a few questions about that. In the meantime, please use the hashtag HereAndNowKE on Twitter. We'll be back on Here and Now talking about youth and politics.